Hello, boys and girls, and today we are going to do lesson number 1 of book 5A. So, we are going to start, and the book says whole numbers, and we're going to discuss how whole numbers work. Now, I know that you've been through millions, hundreds, thousands, but we're going to do billions today. So, we're going to first start by looking at the different pieces of place value. Now, you notice that in place value, when you were little, you probably had 3 spots. And you knew that this is the 1 spot, this is the 10 spot, and this is the 100 spot. And you knew that because when you wrote a number, let's say 133, if they said how many ones blocks did you need, you'd say 3. If they said how many tens blocks do you need, they'd say 3. And how many hundreds blocks do you need? They'd say 1. So hopefully this looks familiar. Okay, so now we're going to bring it to a little harder problems. But the cool thing about it is that these 3 guys, they stay together. They're like 3 amigos. They always stay with each other. So we have these 3. And then we have 1, 2, 3 more. And then we have 1, 2, 3. And then over here, this line represents the comma. And this comma, when you see that, it's going to be a thousands. The next thing is you have your 3 amigos. So we have ones, tens, hundreds. And then we have our next comma. Okay, and the comma is kind of like saying, come on, to a new word. So this new word is going to be millions. After that, we have our ones, tens, hundreds, and we have the line, made it a little long, comma, and that represents billions. And we can go on and on to zillions, but I think you get the point. The pattern stays the same. Now, when you actually read any of the numbers, all you do is cover. So if I have, let's say, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 9, 8, 7, 6, 2. If I have that number, it looks kind of scary, but all you do is you look at the 3 numbers. So I look at this right here, and it's 762. If I look all the way over here, 432. If I look over here, 765. Over here, 198. As long as you can read that, then you will be fine because you use your little friends down here, the commas, to help you. So it's 765 billion, 432 million, 198,762. And that's all you do when you read it. Now, let's look a little deeper at these numbers. Even though these say ones, tens, hundreds, which this truly represents ones, 2 1 block, 6 tens blocks, and 7 hundreds blocks, when we go over to here, this actually likes to copy. They like to copy this, almost like you have a first name and a last name, and everyone in your family shares the last name. It's the same type of thing. So, once you get to the thousands, it's almost like this is a family. So this is the thousands. These two kind of say the same thing. Then 10,000, 100,000. So this acts like the last name of the number. Then we get to millions. This stays the same, so we say millions. So it would be 2 million if there was nothing else left. Then we have 10 million, like the last name. And then we have 100 million. The last one, remember, 1 stays the same, billions, 10 billions, 100 billion. Now, each of these are called periods. Okay? And it goes on here too and here too. Those are periods. Now, one thing sometimes they'll ask you is expanding a number. So when you expand a number, I always say think of it getting fat. So if someone, here's my person, if he goes to the store and buys tons of donuts, all those donuts, and he eats them all up, then he's probably going to look kind of chunky, right? And when you look at a chunky person, you see something that looks like the 0. So that's how I tell kids to help you to remember. 0 is the expanded form. Okay? If you expand someone, make them big, then they're going to kind of represent the 0. So if I had this number and expanded it, I would just take each and every one and put the 0 with it. So watch this, and it's going to be a lot, so I'm going to put it over here. So we have expanded form. And by the way, this right here, this whole thing right here is called standard form. All right, that's the standard that they have. When they ask you to write something, they're usually expecting it in a standard form. But because you're learning about it in the book, they're going to ask you standard form specifically because they also want you sometimes to do expanded form. So if I look at the expanded form, I'm going to look at the very first number I see over here, which is a 7. Now, I'm going to put the 7, and then I'm going to count how many zeros I would put. So after 7, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now I'm going to work backwards, and I'm going to put commas. So I'm going to go backwards, comma, 3. 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma. Now, when they want expanded form, they want you to add all the numbers because when I add them all, they should equal to this number. So my next number is 6. So I'm going to do 6 right under the 0. And I'm going to 0, 0. All the zeros underneath are going to be the same. And my comma is back. And you should see some type of pattern going. Next one is 5, right? So I'm going to do 5, comma, have my zeros. And I'm just doing my commas right under because I'm just copying. Now I'm at 4, so I go down 4. Oops. Now I can't put 4 there or that'd be 9. So I'm going to put 4 there. And it's kind of, notice how it goes in like a staircase. It's going to keep going like that. All right, so I'm at 0, 0, comma, 0, 0, 0, comma, 0, 0, 0. Then it's going to go to the next number 3, then 2, then 1. So I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, 9, 8, 7, 6, 2. 9, 8, 7, 6, 2. Okay, now I know 2, I'm going to go 0. Now I'm just going backwards. I'm just filling the pattern in. And usually you go down, but just in the essence of time. Whew, thinking my arm hurt all these zeros. Put my commas in, make sure everything's lined up. And there we go. Now expanded form means you just took the regular standard form. So this is the standard form, guys. Standard form, remember Stickman? Stickman is standard form. Okay, because it's nice and skinny, easy to write. Standard form is when he eats too much. He gets expanded. So expanded form, you're going to go like that. Add them up. And when you add it up, it gives you that number. So you can go through and go 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and 2. 0 all the way down and 6. and so on to the point when you add it up, you should have 7, 6, 5, comma, 4, 3, 2, comma, 1, ooh, let me scoot over, 1, 9, 8, comma, 6, 7, 6, 2. And it will work out that way. So just know when you see expanded form, it just means make it big. Okay, so now the last thing that we're going to talk about, besides sometimes you can write if it's a 4-digit number, like 3, 5, 2, 1, you don't have to write the comma. I say get in a practice of writing a comma just because it helps you to practice. You count 3 over, you write the comma. And again, if you have trouble, just look at the 3, 5, 2, 1, so 521, and then you know this is thousands, so it's 3,521. All right, so now if you have different numbers, you always want to make sure that you understand the digit spot. So if I was to give to you, I'm going to erase this. So you want to make sure you know the digit spot. So the digit spot is going to be wherever it would fall. So if I have 8, 9, 3, 1, 2. I'm going to go back, 1, 2, 3, put my comma. If they say what spot or what is the value of the 9, so this 9, if they're asking this 9, then you go, well, I know this is ones, tens, hundreds. This comma means thousands. I know the ones likes to take his last name and be called by it. So it's going to be the thousand spot. Now, if they say, how much is that 9 worth? You're going to say it's worth 9,000. Okay? Same thing with, let's do another one. If they give us a big number, let's say 8, 3, 2, 5, 1, 4, 7, 2. Okay. If they say, what is the value of the 5? Well, I'm going to find the 5, circle it, and say, well, I know this is ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. So I know it's 10,000s. Or, so you'd say it's in a 10,000 spot, or you can say it's 5 10,000. So you just put zeros like when you expand it, which is 50,000. Same difference. 5 10,000, 50,000, same thing. So basically all you're doing is looking at the numbers and looking at the place value. It repeats over and over. They may ask you to do take expanded and put it together, which is very easy. The trick I always say is to put it on top of each other. So in your book you might see 7 million. If you see 7 million in your book and then they say plus 5,000, I'm going to scoot this over. Let's say 51,000. I might say plus, and we'll change it to 50,000 just to keep it in zeros. Plus 400 plus 3. That's kind of hard to see. So I always tell students when they do that to just put one on top of each other. So here I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to count here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's where I stop. So I know I'm going to write 5, 0. I'm copying this number. I'm writing it right there. Now this one has 1, 2, 3 numbers. So I'm going to start here. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to write it here. And the last one has 1 number, so I'm going to write it here. Now, when I add it, 3, 0, 4, 0, 5, 0, 7. So that would be my answer. Notice I drew lines to help keep myself organized. One major thing in this type of math, and as you move forward into harder math, is staying neat and organized. And I know most of you are probably neater than me, but that is something that you have to do because you're going to do a lot of lines and rows, and you need to make sure you keep track of that. Now, another question they might ask is what is greater than or less than another one? So if we have 3, 2, 4, 5, 3,245, and we have 3,524, you need to be able to look and see what the difference is. So if you're seeing, okay, I'm going to start at here, 3, 3, that's the same, both 3,000. Here I have 200, here I have 500, which is why you need to know place value. 200 means I'm only having 200 blocks. 500, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 500 blocks. Well, that means this one's definitely going to be greater. And remember, it eats the bigger number. So that's going to be greater. So just make sure you keep an eye on that because that's why checking place value is so important. It's very important in all types of math, and understanding it is key. So I am going to leave you with your practice. You are going to practice different problems and see how you do. At any time, if you need help, go back to the lesson. Thanks. See you next time.